What is up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. We've all got this handsome fella, Tyler.
Hi.
I was looking back. This just gave me flashbacks to. I just realized you said hi, and I said ugh. But it's giving me flashbacks to when we first started filming, like 100,000 years ago, and just the way that we were. Like, I can't even explain it, but it's so cringy to watch.
Yeah. All those, everything pre-2018, I think needs to just
maybe
go away.
Pre-2022. No.
Yeah.
So I do want to take a second to thank today's video sponsor, which is HelloFresh. I thought it was perfect that this is a video that you're in, Tyler, because you're a fan.
A big fan, yeah.
Because we both cook the meals, and we were literally just now discussing, like, who's going to cook this meal tonight of the B-roll you're going to see.
And I called it.
No, I said I might, so we'll see. But we love it because the meals are super easy to make. They lay everything out step by step. I love the recipe cards. So tonight's meal is meatballs with bulgogi sauce. It's got some carrots, ginger rice. That creamy sriracha is so good. I feel like fall gets to be a really busy time, and it's one of those times that it's nice to have something checked off your to-do list, like meal planning, grocery shopping, and that is why we love HelloFresh so much. So it is a meal delivery service, and you are able to choose between 40 different recipes and over 100 add-on items every week. Some of our favorites are their quick and easy recipes. They have 15-minute meals. Those are so fast to get on the table. And one thing I feel like a lot of people don't know is that HelloFresh is more than just dinners. You could also stock your fridge with easy breakfasts, quick lunches, fresh snacks. You can go to the HelloFresh market and add any of these to your weekly box. And with HelloFresh, you're getting your produce from the farm to your door in less than 7 days. All right, time to taste it. It looks and smells so good. It's that bulgogi sauce, man. It's so good. Tyler's sitting over there. Have you tried it yet?
Not yet.
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10. It's always so good. Cheers. It's so delicious. So if you've been thinking about checking out HelloFresh, this is an awesome time to do it. You can go to HelloFresh.com and use code 50JBraun at checkout for 50% off plus free shipping. I will have the QR code on the screen you can scan if that's easier for you. I will also have the link at the top of the description box. So, hi everyone, for real. We're doing a coffee chat. Hanging out. We promised ourselves we would do this more often because we I do.
I enjoy it.
Okay, good. I was like, yeah, we both totally enjoy this, and we wanted to do it more often because it was a few months ago that we did it, but I think before that it was years.
Yeah, we were trying to do it like once a month. That was our kind of goal, but then life got in the way. So
well, I think that's just a big ask because it's hard to find time to do this together just with what we're doing, but also I already do my own monthly coffee chat, and I don't want you encroaching upon that.
You're getting it once every 6 months, and you're going to like it.
But we also we film our podcast together, so like finding that time is already hard enough. So anyway, so yay, we're very excited. So I asked you guys on my Instagram, which is, it's Jessica Braun, if you have not followed me over there yet, and got a bunch of questions and topics from you guys that are really interesting.
I haven't seen any of these yet. So
yeah, you haven't. I took screenshots earlier and I was like, ooh, I love doing this. I feel like you get a little nervous.
You're prepared and I'm not. I don't know what the...
TBH, I really haven't thought through many of my answers.
Yeah? All right.
And then we'll have some surprises in there too, because they're still coming in. They're rolling in.
I feel like I'm like looking up at the camera.
Hello, sir. I told you, it's so that...
May I please have some more?
We're falling into the crack of the couch.
We are. I told you guys earlier that this couch is very old and loved. Like, it's been around for a long time, and it is like... the couch is literally a V right now.
Get out of my crack. Okay.
Dwight, get out of my nook. That's what she said. That's what she said. Well, that's just a fun one. It's Maria 1985 asked, did you ever settle on a washer and dryer?
Boy, that was a saga. That shouldn't have been a saga.
It really was. Yes, we did. We went with Maytag, and you know what? I absolutely love that washer and dryer. Yeah. It seems so well made. We had a Samsung before, but remember, they were too small. Like, I don't know what is wrong with me measuring. I measured wrong for the thing. I'm like...
For the fridge, yeah.
And it had to do with the doors and hinges with that. So I know my mistake with that. Very big, expensive mistakes.
Well, the problem is our laundry room is in a bathroom and it just has doors that close. Mm-hmm. And I was saying we could just get rid of the doors because then it wouldn't matter what size.
No, the visual clutter will make my brain explode.
And I was like, well, we could put cabinets in and all that stuff. But anyway, so you didn't want that. So we still have to deal with the doors. And so we have to get a really narrow washer and dryer. So we bought one and we didn't realize that they were RV ready. So they literally
are camper size.
Are camper size, like for like a motorhome or something like that, or a larger maybe like fifth wheel that has space for a laundry. So we ended up, it was like, it's just not going to work. It was it like sucked up all the water, so it didn't like drain the water, because I think in an RV the whole idea. So it came at this big tray, and after every load,
the water.
we had to pull all it out and then dump the water out. Which I'm like,
it was
again,
bizarre.
For a camper's perfect, but for our needs, it was
for
kind
daily washing and drying. And they were so small, I had to split every load into 2 loads.
Yeah.
I can't believe I survived that.
Luckily, my family owns an RV dealership, and so I was like, hey, brother, I have this
You want
RV-ready
these?
washer and dryer. So it's still sitting in the parts store. Apparently, nobody wants to buy a washer and dryer for an
Hopefully,
RV.
we'll eventually sell them there. But yeah, it kind of worked out that at least
Yeah.
you can have them there. I just know the right person's going to come along and be like, perfect, because they're like a year old. They were barely...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, not even. Not even.
Who knew we could talk for like 4 full minutes about our washer and
Oh,
dryer
and that's
saga?
the short version of the story.
Yeah.
The ones that we have now also leaked, and we had an issue. It was leaking through the ceiling. So that's another part of the story.
We got that figured out. No worries, but yeah.
Oh, man.
You wanna read
Okay.
this next one?
Do either of you have tattoos? If not, will you ever get one? We don't have tattoos. I'm not really against getting a tattoo. I just never have.
I know. I've never had something that pulled me so much to like need to mark that on my body, but I understand why people do, and I don't have a problem.
I think the only thing I would do is like your name and the girl's name, like something like that.
What about our faces? Just giant on each pectoral.
Yeah. Do like in Superstore where each turns into a
But
giant
I want
top
your
hat.
chest hair to grow as a mustache on my face.
But no,
Yeah.
we just don't. I thought about doing like something with music and maybe something with Harry Potter when I was younger, and now I'm like, I don't know. I just nothing.
I can see like doing like a cross for me, but it'd be small, and I don't know. I've just never needed.
Yeah.
But like I said, I get why people do.
When I was younger, and I was like, well, I'm going to be an actor. I was like, well, I don't want to have to worry about that, but that's part.
like
that's
if
why
you
I
have
didn't
to
do it when I was
cover
like
it.
18. Yeah, but then I just got older, and then
I wonder what you would have gotten at 18. It would have been
probably something a music note.
Yeah, that's
Or
pretty
some
cool.
piano or something. Piano keys.
You would have done a whole piano so you could practice
yeah.
like on your leg. Wait, that's genius. Ooh, Crowned Jewel asks, how to hold each other accountable gently without hurting each other's feelings.
Oh, that's a loaded question.
We got a lot. Every time we open this up when it's like us talking, I get a lot in the question box. What am I saying? That too
Suggestion
many
box.
details for no reason. Asking like, can you share like one thing you guys don't agree on? Because it just feels like you guys agree on everything. I'm like, again, I want to reiterate, we don't pick up the camera when we're arguing. Like, why would we? So you're only seeing generally a highlight reel.
Well, and that's what always kills me. Like if I upload a vlog or something like that, and there's the inevitable person like, "Why aren't you holding your kid?" I'm like, "This was 2 weeks of my life, and it's 20 minutes. Obviously, I held my kid in between."
20 minutes of 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah, it just kills me. Like, you think this was my whole week? You know, this is the whole thing, and I'm like,
There's always going to be people that don't
Yeah.
understand. That is one thing that always grinds my gears. This is totally off topic from this, but we'll talk about it anyway because it's something we talk about a lot behind the camera. Is like, you know, if you could hear Genevieve saying like mom in the background, every once in a while we'll get a comment of like someone like, don't you hear your daughter crying?
She's crying out for you.
And all you care about is filming. I'm like, okay. Again, it's like and if you knew the amount of times that a 5-year-old says mom in a day, I mean, it's like any parent watching is laughing with us because it's like, if I said, yes, daughter, every time she said, mom, I wouldn't have a life. That would be...
Yeah, because every time, yes, honey.
Look at this.
I see, you did color that green.
Cool,
Very
yeah.
good job.
We are good parents. Like, it just, and you know, we take it with a grain of salt because I know people making those comments either aren't parents and so they just don't get it, or they're just unhappy about something that it's like they just don't get it. And if that's the thing that makes them feel better, telling us that we're just terrible parents because for 2 seconds of our day we didn't respond to our daughter saying mom, then you know, we know we love our children and we are good parents.
Yeah, I don't need your validation.
Yeah.
The one thing that made a big difference for me this year, which we still need to film, are what we've been reading. I think at this point we're going to wait till December.
I got a lot of questions about that. Yeah.
Because we were going to do it in June,
We
and
could
that
do
didn't
it like
happen.
in November on your channel.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so but one of the books that I read this year
Soon.
was What Happened to You by Oprah Winfrey and a doctor that I can't think of his name. That was an amazing book that I think everyone should read.
Still on my
it's
list.
so good. It's just utterly fascinating, but it reframed a lot of that stuff in my mind where if I would get a comment like that, I'd be like, what a jerk. What a terrible person to write that. And now I'm like, what happened to you? What is it about that
okay.
person's past that is making them comment this now? Maybe when they were a kid, they didn't have, supportive parents or something. So now they're lashing out, when they hear that. That's, so it sort of reframed a lot of negative comments that we get in my mind. And I think that was a huge shift for me. Yeah. It's like, I know you have something going on in your life that you wrote this terrible comment on this stranger's video.
Yeah.
Just trying to,
I love that. I really need to read that soon. I want to say someone else in our family read that.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I also think about that kind of thing when it comes to, like, if you have a boss that's just, like, awful. And I've had some in my day, not necessarily, like, the principal of my school or anything, but, like, generally people maybe you work with or work for, whatever, and you just wonder, like, same thing, like, what happened to you? Like, why are you this way? Who hurt you? Because we all are the way we are for a reason. Like, I think nature and nurture, so it doesn't make sometimes the blows any easier, but sometimes it does. And I think that's a healthy way to look at some of that.
That's one of those books that in a couple of years I'll pick up again and read again, just because I'm sure I've already forgotten so much about it, but it was great. One of my favorite books I've read so far this year. Yeah,
I need to bump that up to the top of my list. I'm still working through the ACOTAR series. It's taking me forever. It's getting good, though. I was up till like 3 a.m. last night. Well, speaking of that, that's a good question.
Wait, we didn't answer the actual question, though.
Oh my gosh, we didn't. Okay, wow, we did not. Thank you, Crown Jewel. You just got us off on a different thing. How to hold each other accountable gently without hurting each other's feelings.
I don't even really understand the question. So what's the question? Is it?
I think, like, if you are doing something that, like, you either said you would do, you aren't doing something you said you would do, or I feel like they're saying, basically, how do you gently argue? Because if you're arguing over something, it's because someone's doing something you don't like, or you know what I mean?
And again, I know what you just said, but I'm also going to kind of take the counteroffensive here and say that we don't argue all that much. I mean, it's fairly rare, I feel like, when we argue.
Yeah, we're not a screaming match type couple.
No,
But we definitely disagree on stuff. I mean, there's no doubt.
But I don't know. Yeah. I think, I always go back to the fact that I think you and I both respect each other enough that we're like, even if we have a difference of opinion, we both know that the other person is coming from a well thought out position. It's not like a flippant, decision you made. It's, it's something that we both
think way too deeply about. You know what we argue about most recently is me saying what to you? What? When you can't figure something out, what do I say?
Oh yeah, this is a new thing that started like 2 weeks ago. What is this about? I'll say something like I was talking about the straight lines in the bathroom yesterday when I'm painting, and I was like, I gotta figure out a way to like make sure that the lines are really straight, and I'm doing it with a wet edge. I'm pulling the tape right off, and Jessica is like, well, have you Googled it? I'm like, I know Google exists.
But you know what? I've asked him that like 20 times, and 60% of the time, you're like, I haven't Googled it yet. I'm like, well,
because it's usually something I'm doing like right at that moment. I'm like, I'm gonna get around to Googling it. I'm just having a conversation. Just saying words to say words.
I'm trying to solve your problems right then in the moment.
Obviously, I'm going to go to Google. I think talking.
I think I have become someone that now looks a lot of things up. Things that I'm like, I can do it. I used to not ever look anything up, and then I'd be like, oh, and I'd screw it up. And so that's why when I see that in you, I'm like, little Tyler.
It's usually that I just haven't
Google it before you do it.
Yeah, I won't voice my frustrations to you until I've Googled things.
You know what? In fact, let's just not voice any frustrations ever to each other.
I'm done.
But these are the things we argue about. It's always about who's right. Or if you have Googled it yet or not, because otherwise I don't want to hear
But that just started like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what is this response?
Oh, I've been doing it under the radar for way longer than 2 weeks.
I'm just talking. I'm just making conversation.
Well, like I said, I think I try to solve problems. And so when you have a problem I don't know the answer to, I'm like, well, Google it.
Yeah, I know.
Obviously. So I don't think we get our feelings hurt too often when it comes to that. Another thing, okay, sorry, back on this. I just had this realization. A lot of times when we're like really in the heat of a moment, mad at each other, one of us will laugh about something stupid, and then it like almost gives you
diffuses
a
the
beat.
situation.
Yeah, it gives you a beat to realize how dumb whatever it is you're arguing about, a wet edge of paint, or like that's it. And so I wonder if you are someone that like you do get into those screaming matches with your partner, like maybe just start laughing
really loud
like,
in the middle of it.
Because I do wonder, like, because think about it, sometimes the next day, if you broke that rule and you went to bed angry, but a lot of times in the light of day, you look at whatever you were arguing about and you're like, what? Like, that was so dumb. But in the heat of the moment, you know,
so important.
Got the adrenaline going, and
My
you like
wet
laughing
edges.
is like, just put a whoopee cushion under and just see what happens.
Just look at your partner and say, wet edge.
It just sounds gross. Instameg31 said, bedtime routine with your kids. We got a few questions about that. Like what that looks like with us. Like
we just kind of, so in a perfect world, obviously things change day to day because it's not, but in a perfect world, we do bath time every other night, and one of us does like both girls. We used to like, okay, I'll do one, you do the other, but now they're both old enough, it's just kind of easy to just do them both.
Yeah.
And then
throw them on in.
Throw them in the tub and be done. But then you and I, usually, like if I put Felicity down one night, you put Genevieve down, and then we switch the next night. I mean, but then there's nights where you're making dinner and I'll put both girls to bed, or there's like where I've been working on the bathroom, you'll put both girls to bed. So, I mean, we pretty much just switch off every other night.
We try to keep it even-ish as possible, but you know, like you said, life gets in the way. Like tonight, I'll be filming the HelloFresh spot that you saw earlier, like the cooking, and that's a night where like generally you'll probably have the girls and you'll be probably getting them in the bath to bed, etc.
Yep.
So, but
I just feel like it's important to keep in mind in the moment, like even if you're doing it like 3 nights in a row and you're like, gosh, I've been putting the girls to bed by myself 3 nights in a row. Well, then in a week it's going to change and you're going to have something you're doing, and we just it still, I think in the end, always evens out.
Oh yeah, and I feel like we're both hyper aware of like if one of us has done it more often or not.
And Felicity still gets up, well now, thank goodness, like once or twice a week in the middle of the night. It was like 5 nights a week. Yeah. But now she's finally, it's like once, maybe twice a week, and we switch off with that too.
Yeah. So like it's been a few nights, knock on wood, knock on it, because I don't want to... You better do it. I don't need wood around me. Yeah, it's been pretty good the past few nights. So it's been my night for a few nights because she hasn't woken up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how we do it. But obviously everyone's different. Like I think about like our friends, for example, that have kids, and their nighttime looks so different. Like for some of them, it's always one of them that does bath and bedtime, and then the other doesn't. And it, you know, I'm sure they figure it out the way. So it's just the way we do it.
Do you ever miss having actual coworkers working remote and it's so quiet? See, I'm in a weird position. See, you're going to have a very different answer than I am, because I am in a very weird position where I have like a team of 15 people, but we all talk so much, it almost feels like we are actually like coworkers in the same space. Now, that said, I know some of my agents have talked about how they don't like, they do what they call like body doubling, where literally they will have like a camera on and they'll work together at the same time. And there's like an app they use for that sometimes too.
That's cute. I didn't even know that was the thing.
Yeah, but they literally were like, hey, I'm hopping on this to do the body doubling. And they'll literally just sit there like and work together on camera.
Humans are amazing. That is so, what a cute thing that people want to do that. I love that.
But I'm like, honestly, I think back to like when I worked in hotels or when I worked in, for Stanley Black & Decker, and I'm like, I was still working
you worked at Stanley at the wrong time. You could have worked when this whole water bottle thing, and I could have gotten all the free stuff.
That's where I got, most of my tools are DeWalt tools, because Stanley Black & Decker owns DeWalt, and man, I got like 70% off on most of my tools, and I'm like, that's the biggest thing I missed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You pretty much bought everything you needed then.
I did, because I was like, I know if I don't work here anymore, this is going to stink to buy later on. But now I'm trapped in the 20 volt DeWalt system. So now I'm like, anytime I do buy a new tool, I'm like, man, now I have to pay the expensive price to get that tool. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because
eventually that 70% just evens out.
Yeah, I know. I worked in a cubicle, like when I worked for Stanley. Like hotels are very different, but when I worked for Stanley Black & Decker, I work in a cubicle. I'm like, it's not any different really from that when I was because I worked in the accounting department, and it was just kind of working by myself 8 hours a day, and then I'd see people in the break room like, hey buddy, and then I go back to my cubicle. So I mean, that wasn't all that different, I guess. But I just feel like because we text so much, we have a chat room, we video chat, we have meetings where we're constantly talking to each other.
So it's just different.
We just feel like we're around each other a lot.
All right, well, for the other end of that, when you are truly alone, no. I mean, the only people I work with would be like my editors, so we like talk via an app as well, but that's not like constant or all the time. I think humans can just get used to anything, and it took me a while to get used to it, but now I'm like, I cannot imagine going back to a real job, and that's a good feeling, because it took me years.
Yeah, it was.
And it was like rough timing, because it was like also a postpartum period when I first started it, so it was a lot changing at the same time, so I think that was a bigger piece of it. But now I really do love it, and that's probably a good segue into the real reason you're all here. It's not even, some of you guys would be like, that's the secret.
It's funny. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, right now I'm doing a lot of work by myself, and I'm like, I'm a very independent person, so I'm like, I love being by myself.
Yeah, you do.
Just silence. I know, I listen to music or whatever, but
I was like, you actually don't ever have silence. I like silence. You always have the TV on. I'm like, turn the TV on, dude.
Yeah. I do love silence, though. It's one of my absolute favorite
But you are
things.
always listening to music or TV.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's when I'm just like doing dishes or like working and stuff like that. But like if
When do
I'm
you
like
sit in silence?
actually relaxing, like if I'm sitting out on the back porch,
Oh, yeah.
that is like,
Once in a blue moon.
no. But when I do, I really love it.
Yeah.
Can you?
I agree with that. I just feel like you're always listening to or watching.
Well, yeah, because I'm
something.
always doing something and like, yeah, I do love TV. Man, I love TV.
I was like, he really does. It was like pulling teeth to get us to be able to have a family dinner with no TV on.
Yeah.
The other day we were sitting down to our little family dinner and what was on, like Modern Family?
Yeah.
And so Genevieve and I are sitting down, we got the table all set, that's Genevieve's little job, and so we're sitting down and starting to eat and it was still playing on the TV. And I just hadn't noticed because I'm always the one like, all right, turn the TV off. I cannot believe I've become this person, but here we are. I want to have a nice family dinner. And so Genevieve was the first one that noticed because she's Miss Rule Follower. And she said, oh, TV's still on. Got to turn it off. And what did you say?
I didn't say anything. I said,
No, yes,
oh,
you
I
did.
said you had to say something, didn't you? So mom got up and turned the TV off. Well, but that was one of those things. We really do. We actually have a nice family dinner,
Yeah.
probably 5 nights a week. So like when we do
And
have
that's
it,
been
I
a
was
really
like,
nice change.
yeah. So that's been a big change for us, which has been great. And I mean, like growing up, we always had like family dinners and stuff like that.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Both of us sat down to dinner with our families.
But then as I got older, we always had the TV on.
Yeah.
Drove my dad nuts.
And here we are, and I'm driving Dad nuts that I turn it off.
But anyway, so we really do nowadays probably have like 5 nights a week
do.
where we have just like a quiet family dinner. So don't
What I
get
told
it
you-
twisted.
What I told
That's-
you
it was-
last... Yeah, it's fine.
It was a special treat, and I was all excited.
Oh, everyone's judging you, Tyler. No, I'm sure everyone gets it. And now I will say, the few nights that like they're just so tired, we're like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
just feeding him dinner and putting him to
Yeah.
bed, and we have our own little dinner. It's such a treat, and I totally like that is the time where we 100% have
Oh, yeah.
our shows on, our stories on while we're. Well, that was a
What was
juicy
even
topic.
what was the question? I don't remember what the question was. Oh, remote workers. So finish your remote worker story.
Boy, this is what you guys signed up for. Oh wait, no, we did, and we were gonna segue into
Our big secret.
our big secret. How in the world did we get... Oh, because we were talking about quiet. Okay. First of all, I want to pop on the screen, pop, all of the different people. And that is like a very small slice of how many of you guys were like, please tell us a secret. So,
The big news is we have 2 secrets.
well, not... Calm down.
No, relax. It's not
Relax. I have to do this with my parents all the time. They're like, I'm not pregnant, okay? Please stop with it. So, let's start with the work-related one.
Yes. You go ahead.
Do you want me to tell this?
You do it.
Well, I guess they're both
your audience,
related in
man.
theory. Well, it's our audience. For a lot of them are like, I watch both. Okay, to give a little backstory, because we promised we would give a little more detail in this.
We have a new workspace. Is the big
thing.
The big secret.
Now, I know for a lot of you guys, you're like, okay, well, you had a workspace before. Like, why is
Yeah.
this a big deal? Well,
Here's the saga.
here's the saga. So, a few years ago, we rented an apartment for our workspace because you desperately needed space because that was when you were really getting the agency going and hiring a lot more people, and you needed a dedicated space without the kids around crying, etc.
And by that point, I had been working from home for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I started the
You'd give it
agency-
at the old college try, and
I
it
started
worked,
the
but you
agency
needed...
in 2016. And so by that point, I was like, I've got to get out of this house.
We gotta get out of this place. Who is that? It's the last thing we ever do.
I have no idea
The
what song that
Raiders?
is.
My dad would be so proud if it was. Okay, so we did that apartment, which was in downtown Indianapolis. Now we can say, I think everyone figured that out, but for 2 years, right? But it was expensive, which we were like, okay, like it's a business expense. It's worth,
And we both shared it.
And we
so
both
that
shared
was
it, and
nice.
it was amazing to have a separate space, like mentally for both of us. It was like night and day. I couldn't believe it.
I just feel like so many people now will be able to understand this because for the last few years, so many people have started working from home, and if they have young kids, they probably understand now. Like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
amazing in a
have
lot
the
of ways,
option,
but it is
it's-
impossible in a lot of ways. It's just
It's like anything. So
and mentally separating things. Like it's important to remember that you are in some ways a different person at work than you are at home. Like if you have a different role, you have a different mentality at work, and when it's all conjoined together in the same space, it can be hard because everything is coming together at
like
once.
Tyler the boss versus Tyler the dad versus Tyler the husband.
Right, and it's almost
Versus
like
Tyler the YouTube goofball.
and it is hard for that in your own mental space to have that all together in one space. It's the physical changing of location, I think, makes a big difference.
Yeah. And the other thing is when that office upstairs was just yours, it kind of worked. But we had Felicity, and we had already had the workspace at this point. Then we had Felicity, and it became even more challenging because then we decided, okay, this workspace, it's too far from us. We were hitting traffic. Like, we were literally getting there and only having a few hours and having to turn right back around just based on childcare and stuff.
40 minutes away.
Oh my gosh. Which, in theory, we were really excited because it was downtown Indianapolis. Like, it's so fun. Like,
we were
our friends
right off
live
of
down there too. And
Mass Ave, which is if you've ever been to Indy, is like the happening place, and we love
so many good
like,
restaurants,
going
coffee
out and,
shops.
Yeah.
That I miss. So we basically made the decision based on that alone. Like, it was just too far. We couldn't utilize as much as we wanted. So we were like, all right, we're going to find a place closer to home. So, well, we started looking and we could not find one that fit the needs we wanted, which we had specific things we were looking for. We could not find what we wanted anywhere near us unless we wanted to wait another year or whatever. Yeah. So we finally found a place that we're like, okay, this is perfect. It's an apartment. It had an extra room in it, which we could do the podcast in because that was the other thing where everything is happening in that one tiny room upstairs.
And it takes me 45 minutes to get everything set up.
The scrim up, the lights up for the podcast.
The tables, the microphones, the camera, all that stuff set up. And then you got to tear it all down when we're done.
And then set it right back up. Yeah. So,
having it all
and
just
we're long-term wanting to do that. And long-term, we're wanting to do it more often than every other week. Right. So, anyway, we're over-explaining, I'm sure. I hope you guys are still with us. So, we eventually decided, like, okay, we found this place not too far from here. But they kept saying, like, the one unit that they had available, they were like, well, there's all these, like, weather stripping issues, and they've got to redo it, and it's going to be a month or two. We're like, all right, well, let's put our name on the wait list.
The actual day. So, we went on February 12th.
Of this year.
Yeah, we found this one. We're like, this is perfect. It is exactly what we want. They're like, it'll be ready on February 19th. We're like, perfect. We'll just go ahead and like start thinking about, getting, we'll have to pay rent in 2 places for about a month, but that's okay. Like, we'll just make it work.
We'll figure it out.
And then we were like, okay, this is the one we want. We told them, like, we're ready to sign on the dotted line. They're like, oh, well, actually, they said that we can't do this one yet because during the winter, there was a bunch of drafting from the windows. And we're like, okay. Like, it seems like you would take the trim down, put a new, like, foam sealant in there and then put the trim back up. Seems like it'd be really easy. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, it'll be ready in like a couple months. We're like, okay, that's fine. We can take a month and
So what
relax.
was it, June?
Then it was June. And then we were like, all right, is it almost ready?
Yeah, it was April. Then June.
Then, then it was August. And then we're like, all right. So we were like telling them like, okay. And we kept going by.
We're in July and we're like, okay, August. Like, no way they push it back anymore.
Yep. And so August, they were like, it'll be ready. So we called them. We were like, all right, is it about ready? Like, oh, we haven't even started construction yet.
It'll be late October. And we're like, so, and again, we've been working from home. It's obviously doable. Like it is, but we really want this separate space.
Especially over the summer when the girls were home and we didn't have, childcare a lot of times. And we got
it done.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do. But anyway, so we're like, maybe this is happening for a reason. We were literally on a walk and you were just saying like, there's got to be a reason this is happening. Maybe this isn't what we should do. Like maybe we do consider moving and just doing it at home. We've made it work. Maybe we look elsewhere. Maybe we look at homes. Like all of a sudden we were meeting with one of our like accountants basically. And she was talking about a space she lives in. And she was like, actually it's our financial advisor. So she's looking at our finances and she's like, if you could definitely swing like maybe finding a place not for rent, but to actually own. Yeah. And we were like, yeah, we kind of talked about it. We were like, are we really ready for that next set? It's a big decision. Within a day, there was a unit that opened up, literally like we would be her neighbor in theory. And she emailed us. She was like, this would be perfect for what you guys were describing. And she knows what we do and everything.
Yeah. And it was crazy because like we just happened to meet with her. And
on
she's like
Friday. Yeah. Saturday, she told us.
She said, this just got listed.
And then Sunday we saw it, and I think we wrote a thing on Monday.
And it was accepted same day. It was a whirlwind.
It was the wildest few days of our lives. So you better believe it was really fun writing the very kind email to the other place like, we don't need your space anymore. You can take all the time you want.
We just filmed a workspace tour yesterday. So that's once this goes up, I'll put that on my channel within a day or two.
It's so cool, you guys.
It checked
perfect
every box. And it's just, it's amazing that we're going to be building equity in it versus renting.
And we're paying a lot less per month
than we were
renting, you guys. And that's not always the case. It depends on where you live, what kind of unit. But in this case, we are literally paying a good chunk less.
Yep. and it has a separate space.
I can't believe it.
A separate space that we can record our podcast in, and the stuff can just stay up, so we can maybe get to once a week. Or I was like, we could even do like we do a Disney podcast. We could do another podcast, like something about.
We could just do a podcast every single day.
Something non-Disney related. We could do 2 and do every other week. I don't know, whatever. But I'm like, it'll be set up, so all we have to do is sit down and go record. So that'll be amazing. We each will have our own office. It has a kitchen area and like a living area. It's just it is.
It's
exactly
so perfect.
It's got enough.
We didn't get into the other piece of it though.
What?
Just that we might eventually either rent it out or,
Go ahead.
Well, just that we talked about like, okay, we're buying this place. Tyler will be filming, fixing a lot of it up because it is beautiful. You will see in the workspace video. It is gorgeous.
Pretty good condition.
But it definitely needs some TLC in certain areas. So
which I'm very excited about. I love doing projects like that.
And you just finished our bathroom here, so you're ready.
I know. Yeah, when it's nothing that's like, it's the perfect amount of work for me because like every room needs something, but nothing is like a crazy amount of
You're not like having to tear down a wall or something.
Yeah, because that's a little beyond my scope, but it's all the kind of project that I love to do.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. You are someone that thrives on projects, so it'll be very healthy for you.
And I'll film, if you go watch the walkthrough, I talk about all the different things I'm doing, and I'm planning on filming all of it, so you'll see the renovations throughout.
And I'm in that video too, so.
I was trying to think of a funny thing to call that, like a series like Townhouse Tales or something like that, or like...
That's cute.
Renovation
Rehab. It's my new HGTV show.
Yeah. So then all the videos in that have a title.
It's kind of cute. Give us some ideas. You guys are always full of them.
Way more clever than me.
So the idea is like you're fixing it up. So perhaps in the future we might rent this place out. The area is being built up a lot, so the property values are going up a lot and quickly. And so our hope is we kind of got this at a decent deal.
We want to try and use it. So in an ideal situation, I'll renovate it for about 2 years. We'll use it as an office space for at least 5 years. And then after that, we can decide, okay, we want to do it for a couple more years. Do we want to, whatever we want to do.
Do we want to like move out of this house into a place that would have a separate office? You know what I mean?
We'll kind of figure that out, but use it as an office for at least 5 years and then rent it after that. So that's the ideal. Yeah,
it should. I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
I think it was exactly meant to be the way it all happened. I'm like, that had to have been God working.
So many things had to line up for this to work out the way it did.
Ugh.
It's very exciting.
I'm so excited. So our other secret is that we are going on a very big, probably the most epic trip and listen, this was not all supposed to happen back to back. So our bank accounts are like, ooh.
Yeah.
Because none of this was planned.
No.
Until like a few months ago. Again, this fell into our lap as well.
That's life.
I feel like you should tell this because
So we are going on a 2-week trip to Egypt. Which is the coolest thing I think I've ever said out loud in my life.
Yeah.
Besides, will you marry me? And I'm having a girl or having a daughter.
And I'm having another one.
And I'm having another daughter. This is the 4th coolest thing I've ever said.
Yeah.
So it literally, again, everything just happened like in this amazing sequence of events. So Jess and I were talking about like, what do we want to try and do this fall? We talked about a bunch of different...
Well, we planned to do a river cruise with the girls in Europe. We were like,
that was our plan.
Time, let's just do it.
And we were about ready to like book it. We were pretty much ready.
We knew which one.
My Disney rep contacted me and she's like, hey, I have this opportunity for you to go to Egypt with Adventures by Disney. It's an adults only departure. So Adventures by Disney, if you don't know, is like a land-based tour thing that Disney does. So it's operated by Disney, but they go to they're all over. So they have them in Japan, Vietnam, everywhere. Cambodia. They have them in even like Wyoming, like in the States. They have like they're everywhere. But they are like super duper. We've never done one, but I've always wanted to do one. But the whole thing is they're family oriented tours. So in theory, if you have a couple young kids and you may be a teenager, whenever you get to a specific place, they have. Like you have a 12-year-old, they have specific things for that age range in that location that are geared towards that 12-year-old. So they will actually get something out of it and enjoy being in that place. So that's sort of the whole thing. But I guess they do, I didn't even know this, they do adults only departures. Mm-hmm. And so this is one of them. And she's like, I have your name on this. You can't like give it to one of your sub-agents. You can't like I have you on the list for this if you can make it work. And so I told Jessica about it and we looked at our calendar and we were like, I think it's going to work. And so
it was kind of one of those things that we were like, this is a dream trip. if we pass this up, we would be
regret it forever.
I mean, who would
yeah.
And it's not free. It's a discounted rate.
So what it's called a FAM trip, which is like a familiarization trip. So like a lot of times travel companies will send travel agents on FAMs so that they can get to know the hotel or get to know these different, like if it's a river cruise line, you might be able to get to know what it's like to be on a river cruise. This is actually the first time we've ever actually taken a FAM though.
We've never done it.
We've never done it.
You usually pass it on to your agents.
To my sub agents, and if they can't do it, but like it's just never worked out because the girls have been so young, and that was the biggest consideration here was the girls are so young, and so that was the hardest hurdle to get over.
It's still gonna be hard, y'all.
But it's a discounted rate that we got on it, but we still had to pay for it.
Yeah, and we had to pay for our flights, and honestly, that was the most expensive
part. The most expensive part.
Well, I don't know if it was most expensive, but it
was.
Also, I've never done this long of flights. The longest flights I've ever done was like from here to like Paris or Barcelona. Or, this is
going to be a
new level of for us.
But for the last like 2 or 3 months, I have a stack of books, no joke, this tall that I have been reading through, trying to because I'm like I even as a kid I never really got into Egypt or anything like that. I mean I always knew it and I thought it was cool. You were really into Egypt as a kid.
I was really into it.
But now I'm like, okay, I have like 3 months to become an amateur Egyptologist. So I have been deep diving into Egypt, and it is.
He has read some very dense
I am
books.
amazed,
I like
though.
look at him at night. I'm reading my Bible, and he's reading his Egypt books. I'm like, man,
it's crazy though because it's like it's only 3,000 years. How do I not know everything about it by this
so
point?
Crazy.
But,
Same with the Bible.
But obviously, I'm filming it. I have not been this excited to film videos. I think maybe since our honeymoon. Like I am so unbelievably excited about this, and I feel like I finally have I know what I want in these videos. I know the camera angles I want. I know the scripting I want.
Can you guys feel the excitement?
I
can feel it from here, radiating from you.
I am just.
Tyler's in a good place.
I'm in a very good place mentally.
Yeah.
And I am so excited about this, and I'm excited to film it and show you guys what it's going to look like. I am just beside myself.
And I'm not going to get emotional, but it's so. Again, I talked about God's timing, but I really feel like everything's worked out so well because it was a rough year last year. Lots of things happened in our personal life, and very big unexpected things, very big things. And so, none of it is stuff that we're going to share on here. Yeah. I mean, some of it you guys know, some of you don't, but it's not our place to tell a lot of it. But the point is, it was just a rough year.
Really down year. And even in July, I was telling Jessica, I'm like, I am just so down. I am so... It was a really hard year.
It was a rough...
And literally within a couple weeks of that, we found out we were going to go to Egypt, and we found out we had this townhouse. And I'm like, everything has just been... And the girls are such great ages. Like, oh my gosh. And that's what's so great is now in the evenings, I am just so excited to see the girls and play with them and have a good time in the evenings. And it's just they're such fun ages, such cute ages.
They are. I love it. I wish I could have. Now I'm really going to.
Oh, boy.
I wish we could just freeze them at these ages. They're so cute.
Yeah.
And watching them play together, they're now.
Oh, my gosh. They
Felicities,
giggle.
Yeah, they just giggle
giggly.
and chase each other. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
It is a dream age right now. Yeah.
Don't you cry, because then
I'll
really.
No.
Ooh, and the sun is out.
Anyway,
so out,
it's out. Just this amazing time period right now that I am. It's been amazing.
We're just very lucky.
Yeah.
So, we share all of this. Jesse, hold on. We share all of this with you guys because we share so much. And if I'm being honest, we really were kind of nervous to share both of these big things. And I know that might, to a lot of you guys, you're like, why would, that's silly. But we are very aware of how lucky we are and how blessed we are. And I don't ever want you guys to hear these things like, oh my gosh, they're going on this amazing trip. And then they've got this going on that. And
to come across as bragging.
Yeah, because we are fully aware of how blessed we are. And I think one thing that's healthy about us is we are constantly reminding ourselves that at any point in anyone's life, things can be taken away, and to not take things for granted, whether it's people in your life, relationships, opportunities, money, whatever it might be, jobs.
This year has really brought all that to light.
Yes, it has. And so because of that, we're trying to really enjoy what we do have, but just know that we are very grateful and we are fully aware. I mean, I look back from where we came from to now. A lot of questions we got were about how did you guys get to here? How do I do that? And I wish I had a better answer for you. It's just, I feel like that's important to say because this has been, like we said, a year of downs, and now it feels, hopefully, a year of ups. Yeah. And we're so grateful for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. And we love you guys. That's why we want to share all of this. I can talk about this forever. We want to be able to share with you guys where our life goes and how things grow or don't grow and what changes. And, these are just big, exciting changes this time. That's all. Okay, whoa. All right, let's do a few more quick questions.
Fun questions,
we got to bring this train back up. Wow. So, nonetheless, we're obviously vlogging the Egypt trip on his channel.
Oh my gosh.
The
It's
girls
gonna be
will
too
be
much.
very happy with family, and Genevieve wants to create a countdown calendar.
She's so excited.
I said, you want
to
to
spend
count
time-
down to when mommy and daddy are gone? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh.
Because she's spending time with grandparents and cousins, and she's like,
She
bye.
cannot wait. And Felicity is so comfortable with her nanas and
Yeah.
with my sister, so it will be all
But
good.
That was truly the hardest part of our decision
Yeah.
was, can we leave the girls for? It's 10 days.
It's 10 days, but then flights on either end makes
Yeah.
it 100 years. So
it's going to be, that's the hardest part.
okay, we can answer this question. Marine Proud Mama 3 said, will you ever do daily vlogs? Please say yes.
Not daily. I don't know.
Daily's too much, y'all.
That's-
Vlogmas,
yeah.
we do daily.
Yes. And that's
It's a lot of work. Please
fun.
watch them this year.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They'll be on my channel. We've done that the last couple of years, but
Yeah.
it's always fun. I always love doing it. But man,
Yeah.
come January, I'm like, I need 3 weeks to just sit on the
Just
couch.
no cameras, no
And
cameras.
I get it. I know that sounds ridiculous because it's just us filming what we're already doing, but it's a lot of work.
It takes a lot out of you filming everything, but also, the other side of it,
Yeah.
But not daily, but you've been doing a lot more of our
I have
regular
been,
life vlogs on your channel.
Just weekly, but it's been hit or miss because there's
Just
been a lot
kind
of
of-
things. But I just
yeah.
did I've renovated our bathroom, our little half bath over here, and I vlogged that. So the part 1 is already up. Part 2 will probably go up
Probably be up
before this. I would
Probably,
think.
if not, it'd be soon.
So you can see that stuff. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
vlog more, especially now that my agency is a little bit more self-sustaining. I now have time to do more videos, which is great.
Yeah, that was the plan. Have you planned your Halloween costumes?
I have a list of them.
Wait, wasn't there something that you were like, oh my gosh?
You were all about this one, about being Miss Rachel and Blippy. I didn't like that idea.
That's hilarious, though.
I don't like that idea.
Honey P, I should be Miss Rachel, right? I even have the headband on. So Genevieve is going to be Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. The weirdest part is, she's never seen that movie.
No.
She's just seen that, I don't know if it was a sing-along song or whatever, of what's this? Da-da-da-da-da. And maybe this is Halloween. But she loves Sally. So maybe she's seen Sally's weird song. So I ordered a costume on Shop Disney's site, and it is so cute. And I'll do her little makeup, and she's so excited. Felicity will be Alice from Alice in Wonderland, really just because I bought the costume for her in the right size last time we were in Disney. So they don't go together at all. I don't know what.
What was this list? July 14th, 2015. We had just gotten married. I thought this was way more up to date. Apparently, I think it's 8 years ago in my head. July 14th, 2015 was the last time I updated this note. I thought we kept it
Halloween
running.
costumes. Okay, I
Halloween
guess.
costumes. Ferris Bueller and Sloane Peterson. I don't even know if that's her last name. So, okay. Mickey and Minnie. Okay. Wreck-It Ralph and the Candy Girl. I didn't even know her name.
Penelope. Gigi would be mortified.
Jack Skellington and Sally.
Oh.
Belle and Gaston.
We did do that. No, I was
I know.
Belle when I was pregnant with Genevieve, and you were a pirate.
Yeah. Cinderella and Prince Charming, Mary Poppins and Bert, Phantom of the Opera and Christine, Peter Pan and Wendy. And then I have mine, Waldo.
Wait, you should totally be Walt.
Sid Coanga, which is a way
That's
deep
a
Disney
deep
reference.
Disney.
And the
No,
Brawny
but
Paper Towel
you
guy.
always said, you did do that one, the Brawny Paper Towel. Sid Kanga, how you doing?
But I had, when I was the Brawny Paper Towel guy, I also carried around Shakespeare's complete works.
I don't get it.
Because that was brains and prawns. The brawn and the brain. Yes.
Oh, gosh.
I'll just hang out over here.
Claire asked, full basement reno tour? It's like
Still
a year
not
later.
done. It's almost done. There was, it's again a long big saga. We're not going into that saga. But there was a lot of electrical work we ended up having to do, and it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. But
And it wasn't because of Brady.
No, Brady
it
was-
had
yeah.
to do with just getting the electric. Anyway.
But anyway, so it is finally. And then we had to, so at the beginning of the year, we had to wait a few weeks to get the countertops and all that stuff. And then there was a few things we had to wait on. And each one of those things was a couple weeks. And it kept getting pushed back. And then it was almost done. And then we had these electrical issues that we had to go back and fix. So it is so close to being done. Maybe maybe it'll be a part of Vlogmas. Maybe it'll be a separate video. I don't know. We'll have to think about it. But it is actually finally so close to being done.
Yes, it is. Also, you've been working on our Europe vlogs from when Genevieve was Felicity's
In
age.
earnest, I've been working on them, yeah.
So those are going to hopefully be done soon, and it is going to be the weirdest blast from the past.
I'm doing them in a different way.
It's going to be weird. I have not watched them, you guys. This is going to be weird.
So there's a few things.
Because it's like 4 years ago?
It was 4 years ago. It was November of 2019. And I got to the point where I'm like, I'm just not going to upload them. I'm just going to move on because I had the editors edit them and they did a great job. Mm-hmm. But then I ended up changing it because I was going to do like use each one as a daily vlog because that's kind of how we filmed it. But then I'm like, now it doesn't make sense in a lot of ways because there was a lot of parts that we didn't film because we weren't, I guess, good vloggers in 2018. I don't know.
We've certainly gotten better.
The camera quality, because it was all shot on an iPhone. A lot of it's grainy and I'm like, it's not even like up to snuff nowadays. So I'm like, I'm just not even going to upload it. And then I changed it. So like, again, they edited it. It was great. I'm now cutting it down to 4 videos, so I'm like, I have to completely redo it. But I think I'm actually going to do it. So I've started actually going through and writing the script now, but I'm kind of starting from scratch in a lot of ways. But I'm going to do it in 4 parts instead of 7 parts or 8 parts, however many it was going to be. I'm cutting out a lot of stuff about like the ship that we were on and a lot of other things. So
because it was a Mediterranean cruise, yeah.
Right? And so I think they're going to turn out being okay, but I'm kind of restarting on them.
Well, and now you've got Egypt on your horizon where you're like dying to do those really artistically and cool.
And I have the right cameras now, and it's
so now I think you're like at the point where you're like you're ready for this next project, so you got to get this one done.
And it just kept getting pushed back, just over and over and over again because we had Felicity. Then the pandemic hit, and I was working so hard with the agency, canceling trips and moving trips and all that. So that was
a whole year of work to make less money.
I always joke that I worked 8 hours a day and ended up with less money at the end of the day than I did at the start of the day. But it was just one thing after another. And then every time we went on a trip, I'm like, well, I can quickly get these up because the way I do my actual quote-unquote travel videos, I write a script, I do voiceovers. It's so much more work. And I had just done the Alaska videos. The Alaska videos went up in 2020. And I was like, all right, I need a little break from doing those because it was the same kind of stuff. Anyway, so now we're finally here. And I'm like, I've got to do them. I've got to get them done. So I've been spending a lot of time writing the scripts and just trying to get them done. They have to be done before we go to Egypt. If they're not done before we go to Egypt, you guys are never going to see them. Because I'm not working on it.
I'm like, you got to either get them done or light them on fire.
You just have to know that it's just like the camera quality is not going to be as good. It's just going to be, it is what it is.
I think they get it.
It'll be fine. I just got to be done with it. I got to be done.
Anyway, all right, camera overheated. This may be our longest video ever. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for letting us just share bits of the little we know and the just news about our life, little updates here and there. I'm just excited for the next year or two.
Yeah, I think,
I'm
out of words.
Yeah, same. We've talked a lot. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Again, if you want to check out HelloFresh for yourself, we love it. Literally. Yeah, oh my gosh. Last night's meal was taquitos, by the way.
I ate 2 portions. Two adult portions.
Yeah, you really did. They were so good. Anyway.
Looking at me disgusted across the table. I'm like, it's so good.
No, they were so good. So if you do want to check out HelloFresh, you can go to HelloFresh.com and use code 50JBraun at checkout to get 50% off plus free shipping. It's a really good time to join. I will also have the QR code right there on the screen, and I'll have the link down in the description box for you if you are interested. Especially going into fall and winter, it's a really nice way to just simplify your schedule. So that is all. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!